One of these liberal, out of control judges who are trying to play president and dictate to the executive branch how they can and can't conduct foreign affairs. Well, they outdid all the other judges who have been nuts. They rendered a decision having to do with these illegal immigrant criminals who have been deported to a prison in El Salvador. By the way, it's worth dwelling on this for a moment. These are Venezuelan nationals who were deliberately sent to this country to wreak havoc on us. They are criminals and they are gang members. They got here illegally. They've now been rounded up. Why did we send them to a prison in El Salvador and not back to Venezuela? Because they're so bad, Venezuela refused to take them. And yet we've got judges in this country saying that we have to keep them. It's like they are literally from Venezuela. They are here illegally. We want to send them home. Their own country won't take them. But this judge says we got to take them. Make it make sense. But that's not the craziest part. Listen to what this judge said about how these criminal, murdering, thieving, child molesting, raping, illegal gang member terrorists from Venezuela, listen to how she says they were treated.
Those were words, I mean, anytime someone uses the word Nazi, people's ears are going to perk up, right? And it's a very specific example in this case because it was the last time that this law was really put into practice.
Sorry, let me jump in because I thought that she said it here. This judge said that the Trump administration treated these people worse than we treated Nazis. That's what she said in her decision. All right, so now let's have the discussion.
What did you learn at court today, and what's your read on what happens next?
Yeah, I mean, everybody did perk up when Judge Millett said that during the hearing, but she really reframed this entire discussion of the Venezuelan migrants being put on a plane and sent. There's been all this drama about the judge and the judge at the lower court and what the Justice Department and the Trump administration were doing to communicate. But this brought clarity to the law here and refocused us, at least me watching the hearing, listening to the hearing, around what the court appears to care about now.
Let me just say, you're a moral idiot. Not you, reporter, although honestly, if this brought moral clarity to you, you've got a problem too. You're a moral idiot, Judge, if you in any way suggest that we're treating these people harsher than we treated Nazis. You look at Dresden for a second, would you? Now, of course, the point she was making was that it was Germans who were in the country legally, by the way, during the time that the World War II broke out. By the way, Judge, have you heard of the Japanese internment, where American citizens of Japanese descent were treated pretty poorly by the Democrat Franklin Roosevelt administration, if we're really walking down World War II memory lane? But that's fine. Tom Homan was on Stuart Varney yesterday, and responded to the Nazi comment.
Appeals court judge says that Nazis received better treatment than those deported Venezuelans. Would you like to respond to that, Tom?
Well, it's disgusting, right? What, comparing this to the Holocaust, comparing this to the Nazis? I mean, come on, give me a break. I don't even know what the comparison even means. All I know, we followed the process. The President of the United States, through his proclamation, invoked the authorities he has within the Alien Enemies Act, an act that was enacted by Congress and signed by the President. We're enforcing the law with the laws that are on the books. We're not making this up. Unlike the last administration, who several district court judges said not only were they ignoring the law, they're actually violating the law when they're abusing the parole process. We're going to use every tool in the toolbox to arrest public safety threats and national security threats and get them out of this country. The President Trump committed to the American people, the worst first, that's what we're doing. That plane, TD-8, MS-13, they're a designated terrorist organization. We were removing over 200 terrorists from this country, and we're going to keep doing it because that's what the American people want.
Yeah, amen. Border Czar Tom Homan. Greg Jarrett is the legal analyst over on Fox, and he was asked the same question. What about the legal basis of this and the judge's decision?
Well, first of all, let's start with today's hearing. I wasn't surprised by the inflammatory, incendiary language by an appellate court judge. It was intentional. Anytime you can use the word Nazi and Trump in the same sentence, I think it's a win-win. But the truth is the president has unchallenged authority under the Alien Enemies Act. The Supreme Court has reviewed it, as you pointed out, Sean, with Pam Bondi. The act precludes judicial review. Quote, courts may not pass judgment on the exercise of the president's discretion. And yet Boasberg, he doesn't care. He's defying the highest court in the land. He claims, well, it's a terrible attack on due process. No, it's not. Because under this singular law passed by Congress, an alien can be removed without a hearing. And yet the appellate court was so unbothered by any of that today. At least there was one judge who was on the right track. He questioned whether the D.C. court itself has jurisdiction. Guess what? They don't. The plaintiffs were in Texas when their petition was filed. And under the law, only a federal court in Texas has jurisdiction.
Other than that, it was a great decision. You were wrong. The statute says there is no judicial review. There never has been in the over 200 years that the law has been on the books and applied at various times throughout our history. And, oh, by the way, the guy was in Texas and it's outside the jurisdiction of the district court in D.C. But other than that, great job, Judge. By the way, they're pointing out this Alien Enemies Act that has been on the book since the Adams administration, has been used at various times. And this judge points out that it was used during World War II for members of the Nazi Party who were found to have been living in the United States of America. You know, we had a lot of German immigrants who were living in this country when the war broke out. I just pointed out what we did, what Franklin Roosevelt on behalf of the United States did to Japanese American citizens. These are citizens. People don't realize that when they think about this dark time in our history when we had the Japanese internment camps. We shouldn't even call them Japanese internment camps. We should call them American internment camps. These were American citizens. These were in many cases the people who were born in this country, or they were Japanese nationals who got their citizenship in this country, who were just rounded up. They had to sell all their possessions. They weren't allowed to own property. Everything. And of course, when the government forces you to sell all your possessions, trust me, you're getting pennies on the dollar for it because you don't have a choice. And then they were all carted off thousands of miles away into hellish conditions in these internment camps. Even children of some of these Japanese Americans who were held in these internment camps, who joined the military and fought the Japanese in the war, but their parents were interned. It's unbelievable. So that to compare what just happened with these 300, 250 illegal immigrants who have been deemed terrorists, who were in the country illegally. I mean, forget about, okay, they're non-citizens, but they have a green card. No, they got nothing. They came into this country illegally. They continued to wreak havoc. They continued to break the law. It is a complete and total misapplication of comparing the Alien Enemies Act during World War II versus what's going on right here. And the Nazis she's referring to are people who were in this country and they were arrested and they were imprisoned. The only reason why they weren't sent back to Germany is because we didn't want them to take up a gun and start killing us on the warfields at the Battle of the Bulge, for God's sake. It's honestly, you have to be an idiot, I think, sometimes to be a judge in this country, or at least to be put on the bench by the Biden or Obama administration. In fact, we know that because we've seen Senator Kennedy question some of these people, and they don't have a basic understanding of the law. But my biggest problem with them is that they don't have a basic understanding of morals and ethics and right and wrong and what's appropriate for a country to protect itself. This morning, they took up this issue on Fox and Friends. Kayleigh McEnany made a great point.
Judge Mallet, I don't think we've expressed an appropriate level of rage for what she said. Yes, you are entitled to a hearing unless it's the Alien Enemies Act, where it's special wartime powers that mean the alien does not get a hearing. But Nazis got better treatment, okay?
That was despicable.
Homan said Laken Riley didn't get due process. Rachel Morin, a mother of four, did not get a modicum of due process when she was slaughtered out for a run. Nor did Nungari, that little girl who went to a convenience store. So when the judge talks about Nazis and TDA, I can tell you the average American hears the young girls and mothers who have lost their lives who didn't get any due.
That's absolutely right. And good job from Kayleigh McEnany, as usual, on Fox and Friends this morning, sitting in. Listen, issues like this and stories like this and policies like this, they're maddening, and that'll make you upset, and it'll make you, raise your voice like I just did. And I apologize for that. But here's why I love these stories, because they're clarifying. This lets you know exactly where everybody stands on issues like this. And you're either for protecting our country, for protecting our borders, for the rule of law, or you bend yourself over backwards and twist yourself into a pretzel to make sure that people who are in the country illegally, who have gang tattoos all over their body, who have a record as long as your arm, and I can see you've got very long arms, going back to Venezuela, where the country of Venezuela knows that you're such a bad hombre that they won't even take you back because they don't want you anywhere near the mean streets of Managua. Wait, that's Nicaragua. Caracas. That's what I meant. If you are on that side, if you are twisting yourself into a pretzel to make sure that human rights and civil rights and due process are afforded to the people who don't even bother to respect the due process of entering the country legally or not, then it is incredibly clarifying to me in terms of who you might be and who you decide to politically affiliate yourself with. Because I'd be more than happy to afford them due process if they actually had one modicum of respect for the due process we demand for people who enter this country. We're a very warm and welcoming nation. We have extended our hospitality over the centuries to people from all walks of life. We are the land of opportunity, and we welcome you. We do. We ask one thing. As you're coming in to take one of the rooms in our hotel, how about you sign the guest book on the way in, just so we know who you are? Is that so much to ask? Apparently, if you're a Biden or Obama appointed judge on the federal bench, yes, that is too much to ask. Who the hell do we think we are, enforcing our laws and everything?